everyone, and welcome back to the Clean Reads podcast. I'm your host, Izzy, and today's special guest is my dad.
Ta-da!
And he's going to be interviewing me today and asking me some questions so that everyone like you can know me better.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here with you. I am not kidding. Is this your second
No,
podcast?
This is probably going to be my fourth.
Fourth. Okay. Well, I feel a little gypped. I wasn't even in the top 3. Oh, well.
This was meant to be our first podcast episode, but it ended up being our fourth just because of something called life.
Life happens.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start off with a knock-knock joke.
Oh, no.
So, well, hopefully this will be, good dad and daughter kind of joke. So, knock-knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Okay, Orange you.
Orange, you glad I'm on your podcast?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So I do have some questions for you, and it's exciting to be the father of a daughter who is so creative and is so much fun in these kind of creative ways. So I'm excited that you're starting this off, and I also love the premise of you trying to help other people really discern which books are good and which ones won't be as fruitful for them to read. So, and I'm glad I get to be here on your fourth broadcast.
You mean podcast?
Podcast. Broadcast, podcast. It rhymes. Okay. So what did make you decide to go ahead and start a podcast? What was the...
What made me really decide is that I got into reading, I want to say towards the end of summer, which is ironically the best time to read because you don't have as much time because of school. But I started reading because I knew, at that point I was just playing more video games and being on my phone more. And I started reading, and a few books just made me want to keep reading. It's just something about reading is just so much fun and adventurous. That's what made me originally start wanting to read. And
was there a certain book that you remember, or not really? You just remember the reading did that? You just sort of helped you make that change.
Well, there was this one book we actually rented from the library, and it was funny. I thought that was gonna be such a good book, but I ended up giving it 2 stars. And that book was gonna be supposed to be the book that made me want to start reading, but the second book I started to really is called Taking Liberty, and just one of the best historical fiction books I've ever read. I will be doing a podcast episode later on that and my review on that book.
Did you just start rating books right from the beginning? Did you give them stars or whatever in your... Mm-hmm. Did you journal, or what did you do?
I saw that, other people were, getting, fun notebooks and, creating, TBR lists or to be read lists. And I wanted to get one too, and so I asked my mom, can I purchase something a book journal off of Amazon, and it was $10. And my mom said yes, and I've used that since, and she let me get Goodreads so I could rate books on there.
So this mom that you just referenced, is that my wife?
I think you could figure that out on your own a little bit.
Just trying to figure out the characters in this little play. Awesome. So you liked historical fiction. Are there certain genres you are more inclined to read? Do you have favorites?
The most books that I have in my room are fantasy, just because it's one of my favorite genres, just because you can go to a mythical world that's outside of the normal, in this world, and you can just like dream like anything can happen. You could have superpowers, or you could fly if you want to. It's just
so
like
the opposite
adventures.
of school and chores.
Yes.
Okay, good. Just something to escape.
Anything to escape this world.
I can
Anyway,
have wings and fly away.
I also like romance. Of course, like, not all romance is okay, and I've noticed that a lot with, like, some, like, more modern published books, like, Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I will be giving that another review. I don't know if it's going to be before or after this podcast episode, but, it's just, like, the content on some of these romance books are just so, like, you don't even need to know, like, they're sleeping together or anything. And it's hard to find any good ones.
So, and is that, I don't know the different categories of the books and everything, but I don't mean the genres. I mean the categories like young adult, YA. Is that Powerless a YA book?
Yes, Powerless is a young adult book, and it's been very popular on Book Talk and Bookstagram and BookTube, which is, if you don't know what those are, it's YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. But for books.
What is YA? What age group is YA supposed to apply to?
It says that's supposed to be, like, I've heard other people say it's from, like, 13 to early 20s. And because it's such a, like, big age gap, there's, like, almost 10 years difference, they could vary in content. And it's kind of sad to see, like, just because you are a young adult doesn't mean you're supposed to be publishing something that's meant for adults.
So you found this to be a common theme in some of the books you read, that it had sort of spicy material or something that you felt was not age appropriate.
Yeah, and they, like, advertise as, like,
moral
okay.
appropriate.
Yeah, and I've noticed, like, some YouTubers, and I love watching some YouTubers that recommend this, but they recommend, like, books that are clean, and I ended up reading, like, and purchasing, like, a few, and, like, Powerless and just a few other books, and they end up not being good. And they recommend it, and they say it's clean, and, of course, I'm a homeschooled girl, and they're probably, like, grew up in public school, so obviously that can range in like, okay level
Maybe
of what they can read.
More what they'd be willing to accept. So who are like the influencers that you've had as you started your reading journey on YouTube or podcasts?
Well, one of them, I'm sure most of you have either heard about or watched, is Haley Pham. She and Haley Pham blogs. Or vlogs. She is like a huge, I think the biggest YouTube book person on YouTube. And
Is she really?
Yeah, I think she is. She has like over 300 million subscribers.
And she's the wife of Ryan Trahan, who has a bunch of subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah,
Big YouTube guy.
Yeah, he's almost at 19 million.
19. We've seen them here before.
Yeah.
Where they were like just walking around down on PCH kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny. So he's super popular guy. So she's a popular YouTuber, and that's her whole show is really about books, right?
And she does
it kind of from her home library and all that.
And it's fun to watch her just because, like, she's, like, nice, and she's a Christian girl, and I really like watching Christian girls who like either reading books or don't like reading books, just in general.
Who
watching
else?
Anybody Christian. Another one you might also know is Ashlyn Cayley, and I also like Ian Gubelli, which is their Ashlyn and Ian are husband and wife, and they live in Utah, and they both are booktubers. And
So do they generally have pretty good books recommended? I mean, you mentioned a few that you got as a result of watching their show, and they had more spice or content that you didn't want to read? Are there books that they have recommended and you have enjoyed?
Um, like obviously Ian like reads more Stephen King. He's well known for reading a lot of Stephen King books, and I'm not going to go into that for a while. But he's also liked The Hobbit, and I ended up reading The Hobbit as well, and I really liked it. I don't know how you would not like The Hobbit, because it is a well-known fantasy classic, and Ashlyn read it too, and she also gave it a pretty high rating. She also liked reading Powerless too, and said it was a clean romance, but it's not.
So you're 16 and you want to appeal to, you're 16 and you're a Christian homeschool girl, and you want to appeal to, your podcast wants to appeal and give kind of recommendations and things to what kind of age groups?
Probably like anywhere. Like I like reading middle grade books as much as I read YA, just because like it doesn't matter like what age you are. If it's a good story, it's a good story. It really doesn't have an age limit if it is good and it's appropriate and anybody can read it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
what, more about yourself. So what is your favorite subject in school?
I like, of course, I like reading. But I also like math, and probably everyone on here listening is probably not going to like or subscribe to me after hearing that I like math, because it's one of the most hated subjects in school.
You just lost half your fan base.
I know, seriously. They're like, see ya, I'm done. But I do like math, especially when I can understand it. I like history because one of my favorite like times in history is World War II, and I love reading books that are based in World War II. Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite like genres to read, that is specifically like history fiction, historical fiction.
So what do you think makes a good story? Not just genre, but like what kind of elements do you look for in a story that you know you like the book or you enjoy reading it so much?
Probably like when a story is like really a story that can really connect you with the characters. One that is not only like gets you wanting to read more, but also you become fond of the characters. And besides the characters, like besides the storyline, besides all that, I really like it when the books have like good morals. And I know a lot of people like morally gray characters who like, and I've seen this a lot on Pinterest, where like books are like morally gray and they like people who are morally gray for some reason. But when they have like a good conscience, they desire to help others. Basically, if they have traits that are like Jesus focused, I really like that. And one thing, I know this won't happen with fantasy unless it's like an allegory, but I love reading it when the main character or their kind of like a few of the characters that are not important are like Christian, and that they do produce good morals and they don't like contrast what they believe in. I really like that.
That's, one of the things that I like when I'm reading is a good character arc. Mm-hmm. Even if they start off rough and it could or couldn't be Christian, but they just, they might not be, they're struggling with some things, and then by the end of the story you really see that they've changed and they've learned and grown and that kind of a thing, and that's something that makes it exciting for me to read a book. Mm-hmm. The other thing is bad guys.
Yeah.
The antagonists of the...
There has to be like a good bad guy and like a good like plot, like where it's like you're on the edge of your seat or on the edge of your page wanting to finish the book so badly you want to like know what's going to happen and you don't know. That's one of like the really fun parts about reading.
Are books that you've read recently that are a bad guy that really stood out?
I think The Hobbit was pretty good. I kind of liked how the dragon in there was played, and how, and I watched the movie also right afterwards on a little family movie night, and I really liked how he tried to get into Bilbo Baggins' head. He was like trying to undermine him in little ways that he knew were his weaknesses, but Bilbo just like overcame that. And I really liked how that character arc of like a Bilbo as well, and how he could fight against like the dragon that's supposed to be like the most vile thing on earth, or in the Hobbit land or whatever.
That's a good bad guy for you. What are the books that you? I mean, are you? You've got a list, and I know maybe the people that listen to you don't know, but you create kind of a monthly reading list. Just talk about that for a minute.
Well, each month I ask either my parents, my mom or my dad, to pick out of a stack of books that I pick each month, what books that they can pick out to read, and it's usually ranges from 5 to 7 books a month. Of course, I'm not perfect, and I don't end up reading all the books in that month, but I do try, and it's really fun to see what books that my parents pick out for me, because like they can range, and like my dad picked out like two fantasies, 2 contemporary romances for February.
Well, it's
a historical fiction.
Valentine's Day month.
I know.
So a young girl needs to read about romance.
Yes. Got to dream a little bit for the hopeless romantics out there.
So you also do some reading on Kindle, right? Mm-hmm. You like that kind of
E-books.
way to deliver a book? What do you find that you like about reading electronically?
I like that it's like super portable, and you can like bring a Kindle or your phone anywhere like you want to go. Like you can just put it in your pocket or put it in your purse, and if you're in a line for food or something, you can just bring out your phone or Kindle, and you can just read anywhere. And you can also read at night too. You don't need to bring another light, like a headlight, as you would with the physical books that you read. You can just adjust the lighting on your phone or your Kindle.
So what are you looking forward to? If you've got these books that you've got set up for February, and March will come, and all the other sort of monthly readers, but what, like, is there a book or two that you are most excited about reading in the future?
I have so many books, it's hard to narrow them down, but I do, man, this is a real challenge for me to try to figure out like 2
Okay,
books.
what's your favorite color?
I know, seriously. Blue. Probably one of the books that I'm looking forward to reading is like a summer book. It's called Sunkissed by what is it? Oh, Casey West. I'm really excited because that's supposed to, in Goodreads, there's like genres if you scroll down on a certain book, and it's listed under clean romance, and I'm really looking forward to see if that actually stands true.
Oh, I'm so excited that you mentioned Goodreads so I don't forget, because one of the things I was curious about was what products do you use to evaluate your books to help you sort of filter through even before buying a book? Tell us what you use, because I know you use Goodreads as one thing, but what all do you use?
So for Goodreads, I like scroll to the genres, and I look to make sure, like, if I buy most of the books that I get from the library, and at the library, you don't know what's going to happen. There could be like a strange book out of nowhere that's going to pop up that you've never heard about, but you also want to read while you're there. And so I go to Goodreads, look up whatever type of book that I saw there, and usually they'll tell you too if it's like the main character or one of the main characters that is gay.
So Goodreads acts as a filter. Do you use any other programs or anything?
Amazon and Plugged In. So Amazon, I go on my mom's phone and I look up the book that I'm looking at. Let me just see. Let's just bring up The Princess Bride for an example. So I look up The Princess Bride on Amazon, and then I scroll down to the reviews, and usually there will be a bar where it says ask like questions that will be in the reviews. And I'll usually look up spice or any like relationship or romance, and usually you can see people's reviews that involve that kind of stuff, and you can see like there's no spice, or there's no language, or there is, and you can like say, oh, I shouldn't get that. And I also and the other thing that I use is Plugged In. Plugged In, and I'll put a link down below in the description for you to see, is Plugged In is, I think it's like a Christian website made by Focus on the Family.
Yeah, I think it's from Focus on the Family, and they do more. It's more entertainment wide too. I don't even.
They do podcasts. Know all they do. They do like podcasts, YouTubes, books,
movies.
They do like a lot of that stuff, and it's pretty helpful. Like if you like find like a YouTuber that you want to watch.
It's a little tough these days, and it's the way the world is, and the entertainment and the consumption of all that is, it's hard to find kind of wholesome, family-friendly kind of content that are out there in all those different forms. So it's a challenge.
Yeah, and that's why I love Focus on the Family, because like they don't have all the books like Goodreads or Amazon would have like reviewed, but they do like have a few, and they do like really get into like, they have like sections of like profanity and violence, and they also have like a spice or suggestive relationships, and you can usually read that and see what's actually within the book.
Okay, a couple other things as we kind of head to the conclusion of the interview I want to bring up. You also like going to like thrift stores, and there's some sort of library discount books and things. Where do you get your books?
I usually get my books from just like the library, like the used book section at the library. And I don't know where you personally live, but usually like we live in pretty much every single library that's near here like has a used book section, and really usually you can go in there. Yeah, usually like the most expensive books are like $5, and for like a brand new book, for like hardbound or softbound. Of course, most of the books that I get are used, and they are a little bit beat up, or they have like a marker on the side. But when it's like a book that's like $1, I think it's like a very like a steal, because it's pretty good.
What is that thing that we went to yesterday that had the you take a book and you leave a book? What's that called?
That's called a lending library, and you can find them pretty much anywhere. They're really cool. So the concept of the lending library is that you take a book and you leave a book. You bring a book to the lending library that you don't want anymore, or you like got it, you liked it, and you want to get another book, and you don't want to like sell it or anything. You bring it to a lending library nearby, and there's multiple types.
There's an
that
app,
are nearby.
Right?
Yeah, there's also an app that you can get. It's like lending library. If you go on your Apple or Android device, you can usually find that. And
that was cool. You brought a Bible yesterday, which I thought was cool, because I thought it was like kind of like evangelizing out there. Not that you gave. I think there were other books you brought too. But
I brought like I think a beta care sheet, like a care book, and I brought like a little Bible that I have.
Well, that's cool. You never know what people will get and who that'll hit in the community and stuff. I just think those things are really good for a community to like share books and those kind of things.
And it encourages people to keep reading. And if there's like And if there's like any books that you want to get but are like not like sure about, you can always like go to the lending library and maybe you'll find it and like you can bring it home, look it up later, and if you don't think it's that good, you can just bring it back to another one and you can switch it out.
So your ideal trip is going from Barnes & Noble to a lending library to the library?
Yeah, exactly.
And then reading your Kindle on the way.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Exactly. And then going on Amazon to go like purchase some like books that are on there too. A like discounted price.
What else would you like to know, or for people to know about you, or about your goals for the podcast, or anything like that?
I would really like if this podcast could like reach more people. I would really like that because like there's a lot of readers out there, whether it be like you're on your phone, you're reading every single day. You don't realize it, but you're reading every single day. From news articles to little bubble messages on your video game or your game. You're reading constantly. And just like to encourage as well other people to read, because it is better for you to read than be on your phone all the time, or your computer, or TV, or whatever. It is better for you, and to encourage like reading books that are like not bad, that don't have bad things in it.
What books are you reading right now?
I'm reading a book called Rival Darling. It's a hockey romance book, and the language in it is a little bit rough.
Okay.
And the other one is
Are you enjoying
Aragon.
the story?
I'm enjoying the story actually a lot, and I like the characters and how, there's not a ton of innocence in the character, but when like there's like a little bit of innocence and like sweetness of a certain character in there.
Just like you.
I do enjoy it. The other times I'm violent, I'm kidding. But another book that I'm reading right now is Aragon. And I can't wait to review that book. That'll be a really fun book review.
That's about a dragon?
It's about a boy named Aragon. And he discovers a precious stone in the woods one day while he was hunting. And he brings it back home, and then he finds out that, oh, wait, that's an egg.
Oh.
That's an egg, and it hatches.
Egg?
It's a dragon egg.
Oh.
And it hatches, and it's, and he has to find out how to deal with the dragon, and he goes on an adventure. I'm almost at 100 pages, and I found this great person to do an audiobook, who like reads the book for an audio. So
neat. Well, I think that does it for all the questions that I had. I've really enjoyed spending time with you, most of all, and but also just kind of sharing in your podcast journey and all that. It's been fun, and I love you.
Yeah, I love you too, Daddy.
And you want to end this
with
podcast?
The verse for the day.
Okay, what's the verse?
Romans 12:21.
Are we going to read it together?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's try to see if we can sync up.
This will be interesting.
Okay.
Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much for listening to the Clean Reads podcast, and with my special guest, my dad. And let me know if you want to bring him on again.
Oh, boy.
Maybe me ask him questions.
Uh-oh. You don't want to know the books I read.
Oh, no. It's definitely not for young adults or middle graders. But it would just be interesting. And please like and subscribe. And thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a blessed day. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.